You're watching this right now because something inside you knows. There's a readiness in your soul that you might not even be able to name yet, but it's there. It's been calling to you, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in shouts, and you've arrived at this moment not by accident, but by divine appointment. The universe doesn't make mistakes. When you're ready to hear something, it appears. When you're ready to grow, the teacher arrives. When you're ready to change, the circumstance is alive. And you're here now because you're ready for something bigger than you've been living. Let me tell you something that will change everything if you let it sink in. You are not separate from God. You are not disconnected from the source of all creation. You are an expression of the divine, a piece of the infinite. And everything you've been searching for outside of yourself has been inside of you all along. The power that creates worlds lives in you. The same intelligence that grows a baby from 2 cells, that turns an acorn into an oak tree, that keeps planets spinning in perfect harmony, that same intelligence is breathing you right now. But here's what happens. We forget. We get so caught up in the world of form, in the material reality, and what we can see and touch and measure, that we forget who we really are. We start believing we're just these bodies, just these limited beings, struggling through life, trying to survive, trying to get ahead, trying to be happy. And when we live from that place of forgetting, life becomes hard. Life becomes a battle. We feel separate, alone, afraid. We think we have to do it all by ourselves. We think we have to fight for everything we get. The moment you're ready to remember the truth is the moment everything shifts. And you're ready now, or you wouldn't be hearing these words. Something in you is waking up. Something in you is saying there has to be more than this. There has to be another way to live. And you're absolutely right. There is another way. There's a way of living that's peaceful, that's joyful, that's abundant, that's connected. And it starts with one simple shift in how you see yourself. Stop seeing yourself as this small, limited, separate being. Stop identifying with your body alone. Stop thinking you're just your history, your past, your mistakes, your problems. You are so much more than that. You are infinite possibility. You are pure potential. You are a spiritual being having a temporary human experience, not a human being hoping to have a spiritual experience. When you get this, when you really get this, your whole life changes. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds nice, but my problems are real. My pain is real. My bills are real. My struggles are real. And you're right. In the world of form, those things exist. But here's what you need to understand. The world of form is created by the world of thought. Everything you see in the physical world started as a thought. This room, this device you're watching on, the clothes you're wearing, everything was a thought before it was a thing. And your life is the same way. Your life is a reflection of your dominant thoughts, your beliefs, your inner world. You want to change your life? Change your thoughts. You want to change your circumstances? Change your mind. You want to change what's happening around you? Change what's happening within you. This isn't positive thinking mumbo jumbo. This is how the universe works. This is the law. What you think about expands. What you focus on grows. Where your attention goes, energy flows. You've been creating your life all along, you just didn't know you were doing it. You were doing it unconsciously, by default, based on old programming, old beliefs, old patterns that were handed down to you. But now, you're ready to create consciously. Now you're ready to take responsibility. And I don't mean responsibility in that heavy, burdensome way. I mean responsibility. The ability to respond. The ability to choose. The ability to say, I am the creator of my experience. I am not a victim of my circumstances. I am not at the mercy of the world. I am the world. I am creating it with every thought I think, with every word I speak, with every action I take. When God knows you're ready, what happens? Things start appearing in your life. Books fall off shelves. You hear a song with exactly the message you needed. Someone says something that strikes you. You have a dream that shows you something. You feel drawn to watch something, to read something, to go somewhere. These aren't coincidences. These are divine appointments. These are the universe responding to your readiness. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. You're the student. This moment is the teacher. The question is, what are you ready for? Are you ready to let go of old grievances? Are you ready to forgive everyone, including yourself? Are you ready to stop being a victim of your past? Are you ready to release the stories you've been telling yourself about why you can't have what you want, why you can't be who you want to be, why life is hard, why things never work out for you? Are you ready to let all of that go? Because here's the truth. Those stories aren't true. They never were true. They were just thoughts you kept thinking until they became beliefs. They were just programs running in your subconscious mind, creating your reality over and over again. But you're not your programs, you're not your conditioning, you're not your past, you're not even your thoughts. You're the awareness behind the thoughts. You're the consciousness that observes everything. And when you identify with that awareness, with that consciousness, with that observer, you're free. Freedom is what you're really looking for. It's what everyone is looking for. Not freedom from circumstances, but freedom within circumstances. Not freedom from problems, but freedom from being controlled by problems. Not freedom from pain, but freedom from suffering. There's a difference. Pain is physical. Suffering is mental. Pain happens to the body. Suffering happens in the mind. You can experience pain without suffering when you don't resist it, when you don't make up stories about it, when you don't identify with it. And this is where the readiness comes in. You're ready to stop resisting life. You're ready to stop fighting what is. You're ready to stop arguing with reality. Byron Katie says, "When I argue with reality, I lose, but only 100% of the time." Think about that. Every time you say, this shouldn't be happening, this isn't fair, this isn't right, why me? You're arguing with what is. And when you argue with what is, you create suffering. Not because what is so terrible, but because you're resisting it. What if you stopped resisting? What if you just allowed everything to be exactly as it is? What if you said yes to life, yes to this moment, yes to what's happening right now, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's not what you wanted, even if it hurts? When you stop resisting, something miraculous happens. The suffering ends. You might still have the problem, you might still have the challenge, you might still have the pain, but the suffering ends because you're not fighting anymore. You're flowing. You're allowing. You're trusting. Trust is a big part of readiness. You're ready when you're willing to trust. Trust that life is for you, not against you. Trust that everything is happening in your favor, even when it doesn't look like it. Trust that there's a bigger plan, a higher purpose, a divine order to everything. Trust that you're being guided, that you're being supported, that you're being loved by a force greater than you can comprehend. But trust isn't blind faith. Trust comes from knowing. And you know by looking at your life, by looking at nature, by looking at how things work. Has your heart ever forgotten to beat? Have your lungs ever forgotten to breathe? Does the sun ever forget to rise? Do the seasons ever forget to change? There's an intelligence running this whole show, and it's the same intelligence that's running you. So why would you think you have to figure everything out? Why would you think you have to control everything? Why would you think you have to make everything happen by force? You don't. You just have to align with the flow. You just have to get your ego out of the way. You just have to stop trying to be God and let God be God through you. Your job isn't to make things happen. Your job is to be available, to be open, to be willing. Your job is to say, use me, flow through me, let me be an instrument of your peace, your love, your light. When you live like that, when you live from that place of surrender, life becomes effortless. Things start happening that you couldn't have made happen. Doors start opening that you didn't even knock on. People start showing up with exactly what you need. Opportunities start appearing out of nowhere. This is what happens when God knows you're ready. The universe conspires in your favor. All of creation starts working together to support you, to guide you, to help you fulfill your purpose. Because you have a purpose. Everyone does. You didn't come here by accident. You didn't just randomly appear on this planet. You're here on assignment. You have something to give, you have something to contribute, you have a unique expression of divinity that only you can bring forth. But most people never fulfill their purpose because they're too busy living someone else's life. They're too busy trying to meet other people's expectations, trying to please their parents, trying to impress their friends, trying to keep up with society's standards. They're living from the outside in instead of from the inside out. They're letting the world tell them who they should be instead of listening to the voice within that knows who they really are. You're ready when you're willing to be yourself. Your authentic self. Not the self you think you should be. Not the self other people want you to be. Not the self you've been pretending to be, but the real you, the you that exists when nobody's watching. The you that knows what you truly love, what truly lights you up, what truly matters to you. That's the you the world needs. That's the you that has something to offer. That's the you that makes a difference. Stop apologizing for who you are. Stop trying to fit in. Stop dimming your light so other people feel comfortable. Stop playing small because you're afraid of being judged, criticized, rejected. Who cares what other people think? Who cares if they understand you? Who cares if they approve? You're not here to get approval. You're here to give your gift. And your gift can't be given if you're hiding it, if you're holding back, if you're waiting for permission. You don't need permission. You need commitment. You need to commit to being who you came here to be, no matter what. You need to commit to following your inner guidance, even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. You need to commit to trusting yourself, to believing in yourself, to honoring yourself. Because when you honor yourself, you honor God. When you trust yourself, you trust God. When you love yourself, you love God. You and God are not separate. What you do to yourself, you do to God. What you withhold from yourself, you withhold from God. So many people are waiting to feel worthy before they claim they're good. They're waiting to feel deserving before they accept abundance. They're waiting to feel ready before they take action. But here's the secret. You don't wait until you feel worthy to claim you're good. You claim you're good and then you feel worthy. You don't wait until you feel deserving to accept abundance. You accept abundance and then you feel deserving. You don't wait until you feel ready to take action. You take action and then you feel ready. Readiness isn't a feeling. Readiness is a decision. It's a choice. It's a commitment. You decide you're ready and then you are. You choose to be ready and the universe responds. You commit to being ready and everything shifts. Stop waiting for some magical moment when you'll finally feel ready. That moment is now. It's always now. There's no other time. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened. All you have is this moment. And in this moment, you can choose to be ready. Now, ready for what? Ready for everything. Ready for love, ready for abundance, ready for success, ready for joy, ready for peace, ready for miracles, ready for your highest good, ready for your greatest expression, ready for your true life. Not the life you've been settling for, not the life you've been enduring, but the life you've been enduring. But the life that's been waiting for you to claim it. The life that's possible when you step into who you really are. And who are you really? You're love. That's it. It's all you are. Everything else is just costume, just persona, just roles you play. Beneath all of that, you're pure love. You're pure consciousness. You're pure spirit. And when you live from that place, when you identify with that truth, everything you do becomes an expression of love. Every word you speak becomes a blessing. Every action you take becomes a gift. Every person you meet becomes an opportunity to extend love. This is what it means to be awake. This is what it means to be conscious. This is what it means to be enlightened. Not some far-off state that only special people achieve, but a simple recognition of what's always been true. You are love. You are light. You are infinite. You are eternal. You are whole. You are complete. You are perfect, exactly as you are. Not when you fix yourself. Not when you improve yourself. Not when you change yourself. But right now, in this moment, as you are. The irony is, when you accept yourself completely as you are, that's when change happens. When you love yourself unconditionally, that's when transformation occurs. When you stop trying to be different, that's when you become who you were meant to be. It's the resistance that keeps you stuck. It's the judgment that keeps you small. It's the criticism that keeps you limited. When you drop all of that, when you just relax into being, everything opens up. You've been trying so hard. You've been pushing so much. You've been forcing and struggling and striving. And I'm here to tell you, you can stop now. You can relax. You can let go. You can trust. You can allow. You can receive. Because God knows you're ready. The universe knows you're ready. The only one who doesn't know you're ready is you. And even that's changing right now. As you hear these words, as something inside you recognizes the truth of what's being said, you feel it, don't you? That stirring in your soul. That knowing in your heart, that yes rising up from within, That's not me convincing you of something. That's you remembering something. That's your true self, your higher self, your God self saying, yes, this is true. I am ready. I've always been ready. I just forgot for a while. And that's okay. Forgetting is part of the human experience. We all forget. We all get lost. We all get caught up in the illusion of separation. But then we remember. And the remembering is what this is all about. Every spiritual teaching, every wisdom tradition, every enlightened master throughout history has been pointing to the same truth. You are one with God. You are one with all that is. You are one with the source of all creation. There is no separation except in your mind. And when your mind lets go of the belief in separation, you experience union. You experience oneness. You experience love. Pure, unconditional, infinite love. Not love for something or someone, just love. Love is your natural state. Love is what you are. Living from this place changes everything. Your relationships change because you stop needing people to complete you. You stop needing people to make you happy. You stop needing people to validate you. You're already complete. You're already happy. You're already valid. So you're free to love people without needing anything from them. You're free to give without expecting anything in return. You're free to be present without agenda, and this is what people are starving for. Not your advice, not your fixing, not your saving, but your presence. Your authentic, loving, accepting presence. Your work changes because you stop doing it for money or recognition or security. You start doing it as an expression of who you are. You start doing it as a contribution. You start doing it as play. And when you work from that place, success becomes inevitable. Not because you're trying to be successful, but because you're aligned with your purpose. You're doing what you love. You're giving your gift. And the universe always supports that. Always. Without exception. Your health changes because you stop being at war with your body. You stop seeing it as the enemy. You stop trying to control it with force. You start listening to it. You start honoring it. You start treating it as the sacred temple it is. And your body responds. Your body heals. Your body thrives. Because your body wants to be healthy. That's its natural state. It only gets sick when you're out of alignment, when you're stressed, when you're resisting life, when you're living from fear instead of love. Your abundance changes because you stop seeing scarcity. You stop believing in lack. You stop thinking you have to compete for limited resources. You start seeing that we live in an abundant universe. There's more than enough for everyone. There's infinite supply. There's unlimited potential. And when you tap into that, when you open yourself to that, when you expect that, it flows to you easily, naturally, joyfully, but you have to be willing to receive. So many people are great at giving but terrible at receiving. They think it's spiritual to sacrifice, to struggle, to deny themselves. They think God wants them to suffer. Nothing could be further from the truth. God wants you to have everything. God wants you to experience joy. God wants you to live abundantly, not because you're special, but because that's the nature of God. God is abundance, God is joy, God is love. And you're made in God's image. So abundance, joy, and love are your natural state too. The only thing blocking your good is your belief that you don't deserve it, that it's not available to you, that it's wrong to have it. These are just thoughts. And thoughts can be changed. You've been thinking limiting thoughts for so long that they feel true, but they're not true. They're just familiar. There's a difference. Something can feel true because you've believed it for a long time, but that doesn't make it true. The truth is, you are worthy. You are deserving. You are enough. Not because of anything you've done or accomplished or achieved, but because of what you are. You are a child of God. You are an expression of the divine. You are a piece of the infinite. And that makes you inherently worthy, inherently deserving, inherently enough. When you know this, when you really know this, you stop seeking, you stop searching, you stop chasing, because you realize you already have what you've been looking for. You already are what you've been trying to become. You've just been looking in the wrong place. You've been looking outside when everything you need is inside. You've been looking in the future when everything you need is available now. You've been looking to others when everything you need is within you. This is the Great Awakening. This is the shift in consciousness. This is what it means to be ready. You're ready to stop looking outside. You're ready to stop waiting for someday. You're ready to stop depending on others. You're ready to turn within, to be here now, to trust yourself. And when you do that, when you make that shift, your whole life becomes a reflection of your inner state. Peace on the inside creates peace on the outside. Love on the inside creates love on the outside. Joy on the inside creates joy on the outside. You don't have to change the world. You just have to change yourself. And when you change yourself, your world changes. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. You're seeing through different eyes. You're experiencing through a different consciousness. You're living from a different place. And from that place, everything looks different. Everything feels different. Everything is different. This is why you can have two people in the exact same situation, and one is miserable while the other is joyful. It's not the situation that determines your experience. It's your consciousness, it's your perspective, it's your inner state. And you get to choose your inner state. Nobody can make you angry, nobody can make you sad, nobody can make you afraid. You feel those feelings because of what you're thinking about what's happening, not because of what's actually happening. When you take responsibility for your feelings, you take your power back. When you stop blaming others for how you feel, you become free. When you realize that your experience is created by your thoughts, not by your circumstances, you become the master of your life instead of the victim. And this is what readiness is all about. It's about taking your power back. It's about standing in your sovereignty. It's about claiming your birthright as a creator. You are a creator. You've been creating all along. You just didn't realize it. Every thought you think is creating. Every word you speak is creating. Every action you take is creating. You're creating your life, moment by moment, thought by thought, choice by choice. The question is, are you creating consciously or unconsciously? Are you creating what you want or what you don't want? Are you creating from love or from fear? Most people are creating from fear without even knowing it. They're thinking fearful thoughts, speaking fearful words, taking fearful actions, and then they wonder why their life feels fearful. They're creating it, not because they're bad or wrong, but because they don't know any better. They haven't been taught how creation works. They haven't been taught about the power of their thoughts. They haven't been taught that they're the creator of their experience. But now you know. And once you know, you can't unknow. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. Oh, you can try. You can go into denial. You can pretend you don't know. You can keep living the way you've been living. But there will always be that part of you that knows. That part that remembers. That part that calls you back to truth. And that calling gets louder when you're ready. That's what's happening now. The calling is getting louder. The pull is getting stronger. The invitation is getting clearer. You're being called to step up, to wake up, to show up. You're being called to live your truth, to speak your truth, to be your truth. You're being called to stop playing small, to stop hiding, to stop waiting. You're being called to shine, to rise, to soar. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it requires you to let go of everything you've known, everything you've believed, everything you've identified with. Yes, it requires you to die to who you've been so you can be reborn as who you really are. But that's what transformation is. That's what growth is. That's what evolution is. The caterpillar has to completely dissolve in the cocoon before it can become a butterfly. It doesn't just add wings to its current form. It completely transforms. And that's what's being asked of you. You're in the cocoon right now. You're in that space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's dark, it's confusing, it's uncomfortable, you don't know what's happening, you can't see where you're going. You just have to trust the process. You just have to surrender to the transformation. You just have to let go and let God. And when you do, when you fully surrender, when you completely let go, when you totally trust, something miraculous happens. You emerge, you transform, you become. Not something different than you are, but what you've always been. The butterfly was always in the caterpillar, it just hadn't been revealed yet. And your true self is always in you. It's always been in you. It just hasn't been fully revealed yet. But it's revealing itself now, layer by layer, moment by moment, breath by breath. You're becoming who you really are. This is the most exciting thing you could ever do. This is what you came here for. Not to accumulate stuff, not to achieve status, not to win approval, but to become who you really are. To express what only you can express. To give what only you can give. To be what only you can be. And the world needs you to do this. The world needs your authentic expression. The world needs your unique gift. The world needs your unique gift. The world needs your unique gift. The world needs your unique. Stop waiting for permission to shine. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's okay. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. You're ready now. You've always been ready. You just didn't know it. But you know it now. And knowing it changes everything. So what do you do with this knowing? You live it. You embody it. You become it. You wake up every morning and remind yourself who you really are. You're not this body. You're not this name. You're not this story. You're infinite consciousness having a temporary human experience. You're God in disguise. You're love in form. You're light expressing itself. And when you remember this, everything changes. You walk through your day differently. You interact with people differently. You handle challenges differently. You see opportunities differently. Everything becomes lighter, easier, more joyful, not because life changed, but because you changed. And when you change, everything changes. This is my invitation to you. Stop waiting. Stop preparing. Stop getting ready. You're ready right now. Start living like the divine being you are. Start creating the life you came here to live. Start expressing the love you came here to give. Start being the light you came here to shine. The world is waiting for you. God is waiting for you. But most importantly, you. So give yourself permission. Give yourself approval. Give yourself love. Stop looking outside for what's already inside. Stop seeking from others what you need to give yourself. Stop waiting for circumstances to change before you start living. Start living now. Start loving now. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your opportunity. God knows you're ready. The universe knows you're ready. Now it's time for you to know you're ready. And when you know it, when you really know it, when you live from that knowing, miracles happen. Doors open. Opportunities appear. People show up. Synchronicities increase. Life flows. And you realize that this is how it was always meant to be. This is your natural state. This is who you really are. Welcome home. Welcome to yourself. Welcome to the truth of who you are. You're ready. You've always been ready. And now your life gets to reflect that readiness. Now your life gets to demonstrate that truth. Now your life gets to be the miracle it was always meant to be. Not because you did anything special, not because you became someone different, but because you remembered. You remembered who you are. You remembered where you came from. You remembered why you're here. And that remembering is enough. That remembering changes everything. That remembering is the key to everything you've been looking for. So go live it, go be it, go express it. The world needs you. We've been waiting for you. And you're ready now. God knows you're ready. And so do you. There's something I need you to understand about the nature of problems. Most people think problems are obstacles to their happiness. They think, if only I could solve this problem, then I'd be happy. If only this situation would change, then I'd be at peace. But problems aren't obstacles to your life. Problems are your life. They're not interruptions to your growth. They're the very means of your growth. Every challenge you face is actually an opportunity. Every difficulty is actually a teacher. Every obstacle is actually a doorway. When you shift your relationship with problems, everything shifts. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? You start asking, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? What is this calling forth from within me? Because that's what problems do. They call forth qualities from within you that were dormant. They activate potential that was sleeping. They bring out strength you didn't know you had, courage you didn't know you possessed, wisdom you didn't know was available to you. Think about it. Have you ever grown from things going well? Have you ever evolved from everything being easy? Have you ever discovered your power from never being challenged? No. You grew from the hard times. You evolved from the struggles. You discovered your power from being tested. And that's not punishment. That's not God being cruel. That's love. That's life loving you so much that it's willing to challenge you, to push you, to stretch you beyond what you thought possible. The universe is not interested in your comfort. The universe is interested in your growth. God is not trying to give you an easy life. God is trying to give you a meaningful life. And meaning comes from overcoming, from rising above, from transcending your limitations. Meaning comes from using your challenges as fuel for your transformation. Meaning comes from turning your pain into purpose, your wounds into wisdom, your mess into your message. You have a message. Everyone does. Your message is encoded in your struggles. The very things you've been through, the very things you've overcome, the very things you've learned. That's your message. That's what you have to give. That's what will help others. Because someone out there is going through what you went through. Someone out there is struggling with what you struggled with. Someone out there needs to hear that it's possible to make it through, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, that they're not alone. But you can't give that message if you're still ashamed of your story. You can't help others if you're still hiding your truth. You can't be a light for others if you're still living in darkness about your past. This is part of what readiness means. Being ready to own your story. Being ready to share your journey. Being ready to be vulnerable, authentic, real, not perfect, not polished, not pretending, but real. People don't need more perfection. We're drowning in images of perfection. We're suffocating under the pressure to have it all together. What people need is realness. What people need is honesty. What people need is someone to say, me too. I've been there. I know what that feels like. And here's what helped me. That's healing. That's connection. That's love in action. And here's what's beautiful. When you help others, you help yourself. When you give your gift, you receive. When you share your light, you get brighter. It's not a one-way street. It's a circle. It's a flow. Energy flows where attention goes. And when you focus on contribution, on service, on making a difference, that energy comes back to you multiplied. Not because you're trying to get something, but because that's how the universe works. Give and you receive. Serve and you're served. Love and you're loved. But you have to give first. You have to serve first. You have to love first. You can't wait until you have more before you give. You can't wait until you're fixed before you serve. You can't wait until you're perfect before you love. You give from where you are. You serve with what you have. You love as you are. And in the giving, the serving, the loving, you become more. You attract more. You experience more. This is the paradox of spiritual life. You have to give away what you want to keep. You have to lose your life to find it. You have to die to the old to be born to the new. It doesn't make logical sense, but it makes spiritual sense. It's how transformation works. It's how growth happens. It's how you become who you're meant to be. And becoming is a process. It's not an event. It's not a destination. It's a continual unfolding. You don't arrive and then you're done. You arrive and then there's another level. You achieve and then there's another mountain. You grow, and then there's more growing. And that's not a problem. That's the adventure. That's the excitement. That's what makes life worth living. Boredom doesn't come from having nothing to do. Boredom comes from not growing. When you're growing, when you're evolving, when you're expanding, life is fascinating. Every day brings something new. Every moment is fresh. Every experience is an opportunity to learn, to discover, to become more of who you are. And you never run out of room to grow. You never exhaust your potential. You never reach a ceiling where there's nothing more, because you're infinite. Your potential is unlimited. Your possibilities are endless. So stop thinking small. Stop limiting yourself. Stop accepting mediocrity. Stop settling for less than what's possible. You're capable of so much more than you think. You have so much more potential than you're using. You have so much more power than you're accessing. And it's all right there inside you. It's always been there. You just have to claim it. You just have to activate it. You just have to say yes to it. Saying yes is powerful. Yes opens doors. Yes creates possibilities. Yes invites miracles. When you say yes to life, life says yes to you. When you say yes to growth, growth happens. When you say yes to love, love flows. But most people are living in no. No, I can't. No, it's not possible. No, not for me. No, I'm not ready. No, I'm not worthy. No, I'm not enough. And every no closes a door. Every no blocks a possibility. Every no prevents a miracle. What if you just started saying yes? Yes to opportunities. Yes to challenges. Yes to growth. Yes to love. Yes to life. Yes to yourself. Yes to God. What would happen? What would open up? What would become possible? You don't know until you try. You don't know until you say yes. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to know how it's all going to work out. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to see the whole path. You just have to take the next step. You just have to say yes to this moment. You just have to trust that the way will be shown. And it will be. It always is. When you take a step in faith, the next step appears. When you move in the direction of your dreams, the path opens up. When you follow your inner guidance, you're led to exactly where you need to be. Not where you thought you needed to be, not where you planned to be, but where you actually need to be for your highest good, for your greatest growth, for your true purpose. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the unfolding. Everything is happening exactly as it should. There are no mistakes, there are no accidents, there are no coincidences. Everything is divinely orchestrated. Everything is perfectly aligned. Everything is working together for your good, even when it doesn't look like it, even when it doesn't feel like it, even when you can't see it. Trust anyway. Believe anyway. Have faith anyway. Faith is not believing that everything will be easy. Faith is trusting that everything will be okay. Faith is knowing that you're supported, guided, loved, no matter what. Faith is resting in the arms of the divine, surrendering to the flow, allowing life to carry you. And when you have that kind of faith, when you live from that place of trust, life becomes an adventure instead of a struggle. Life becomes a gift instead of a burden. Life becomes a blessing instead of a curse. Your life is a blessing, every moment of it, every experience, every person, every challenge, every joy, all of it is a blessing. All of it is grace. All of it is God loving you, teaching you, growing you, preparing you for what's next. And what's next is always better than what was. Not because circumstances always improve, but because you improve. You grow. You expand. You become more of who you really are. And as you become more of who you really are, life gets better. Not the external life necessarily, but the internal life. And the internal life is what matters. The internal life is where true happiness lives. The internal life is where real peace exists. The internal life is where love resides. Everything you've been searching for is already within you. Stop looking outside, stop seeking elsewhere, stop waiting for someone or something to complete you. You're already complete, you're already whole, you're already everything you need to be. Now just live like it. Now just be it. Now just express it. That's all that's left, that's all that's required, that's all that matters. Be yourself. Your true self, your authentic self, your divine self, and watch what happens. Watch how life responds. Watch how the universe supports you. Watch how everything aligns, because it will. It must. It's the law. You are not alone in this universe. You have never been alone. There is a force, a presence, an infinite intelligence that is always with you, always guiding you, always loving you. And the moment you begin to recognize this truth, your entire life transforms. Everything changes when you understand that you are not just a physical being stumbling through life trying to figure it all out by yourself. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, and you have access to guidance that is far greater than anything your logical mind could ever produce. The question is not whether this guidance exists. The question is whether you are willing to listen. Are you willing to quiet the noise of your ego long enough to hear the whispers of your soul? Are you willing to trust in something you cannot see but can absolutely feel? Because that is what walking with God is all about. It is about trust. It is about faith. It is about surrendering your need to control everything and allowing yourself to be led by a force that knows exactly where you need to go. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be saying, but I have tried to connect with God. I have prayed, I have meditated, and I still feel lost. I still feel alone. And I want to tell you something right now that might shift everything for you. The reason you are not hearing the guidance is not because it is not there. It is because you are listening with the wrong part of yourself. You are listening with your mind when you should be listening with your heart. You are looking for answers in the noise when you should be looking for them in the silence. Let me share with you 5 ways that you can genuinely connect with spiritual guidance and begin walking with God in your daily life. These are not complicated practices. They do not require you to be a monk or a priest or someone who has studied Scripture for decades. These are simple, practical ways that anyone can use to open themselves up to the prophetic, divine presence that is always available to us. The first way to receive spiritual guidance is to learn to be still. This sounds so simple, but it is one of the hardest things for most people to do. We live in a world that glorifies busyness. We are always doing something, always moving, always consuming information, always distracted. We check our phones every few minutes. We fill every moment with noise, with music, with television, with something. We are terrified of silence because when we are silent, we have to face ourselves. We have to face our thoughts, our fears, our doubts. But here is the truth: God speaks in the silence. When you are constantly busy, constantly distracted, constantly filling your mind with external noise, you are blocking the channel through which guidance comes. Think of it like trying to hear a quiet voice in a crowded stadium. It is impossible. The voice is there, but you cannot hear it because there is too much noise around you. The same thing happens in your life. The guidance is always there, but you cannot hear it because you have surrounded yourself with so much mental noise that the quiet voice of your soul gets drowned out. So the first practice is to create moments of stillness in your day. It does not have to be hours. Start with just 5 minutes. Sit quietly. Do not try to force anything. Do not try to make something happen. Just sit and breathe and be present. You will notice that your mind will race at first. Thoughts will come rushing in. Let them. Do not fight them. Just observe them and let them pass like clouds in the sky. And in those spaces between the thoughts, in those moments of quiet, you will begin to feel something. You will begin to sense a presence. You will begin to hear the guidance. This is not about emptying your mind completely. That is a myth. The mind will always have thoughts. But when you practice stillness regularly, you create space for the divine to enter. You create an opening. And that opening is where the guidance comes through. You might suddenly get an insight about a problem you have been struggling with. You might feel a sense of peace about a decision you need to make. You might get a clear direction about what step to take next. This is not your ego talking. This is something deeper, something wiser, something that comes from a place beyond your limited human understanding. The second way to receive spiritual guidance is to pay attention to the signs that are all around you. God is always communicating with us, but most of the time we are too busy or too skeptical to notice. Have you ever thought of someone you have not spoken to in years, and then suddenly they call you that same day? Have you ever needed an answer to a question and then you opened a book to a random page and the answer was right there? Have you ever been struggling with a decision and then you heard a song on the radio or saw a billboard or overheard a conversation that gave you exactly the clarity you needed? These are not coincidences. There is no such thing as coincidence when you are walking with God. Everything is orchestrated. Everything is connected. The universe is constantly arranging circumstances, people, and events to guide you toward your highest good. But you have to be awake enough to see it. You have to be present enough to recognize it. Most people dismiss these signs as random chance. They say, "Oh, that was just a coincidence," or "that was just my imagination." But when you start paying attention, when you start looking for the guidance, you will see that these signs are everywhere. And they are not subtle. They are obvious. They are clear. God does not whisper when you are listening. God shouts through synchronicity, through patterns, through repeated messages that show up in different forms until you finally get it. The key is to ask for guidance and then watch for the signs. Do not try to control how the answer comes. Do not say, "God, I need an answer, and it has to come in this specific way," because when you do that, you limit how the guidance can reach you. Instead, ask your question and then release it. Say, "I am open to receiving guidance in whatever form it needs to come," and then pay attention. Be aware, be present. Notice what shows up. Maybe you will open your email and there will be a message from someone offering you exactly what you need. Maybe you will go to a coffee shop and strike up a conversation with a stranger who gives you the exact advice you have been seeking. Maybe you will turn on the television and a documentary will be playing that answers your question. The guidance is always there. You just have to be willing to see it. The third way to receive spiritual guidance is to trust your intuition. Your intuition is not some mystical, magical thing that only special people have access to. Everyone has intuition. It is that quiet inner knowing that tells you when something is right or wrong. It is that gut feeling that warns you about a person or a situation. It is that sense of certainty you get when you know you are on the right path, even if you cannot logically explain why. The problem is that most of us have been taught to ignore our intuition. We have been taught to trust only what we can see, measure, and prove. We have been taught that logic and reason are superior to feelings and inner knowing, and so we override our intuition constantly. We ignore the red flags. We dismiss the warning signs. We talk ourselves out of what we know in our heart to be true because our mind tells us it does not make sense. But your intuition is how God speaks to you directly. It is your internal guidance system. It is the voice of your higher self, your soul, the part of you that is connected to the infinite intelligence of the universe. When you ignore your intuition, you cut yourself off from one of the most powerful sources of guidance available to you. Learning to trust your intuition is a practice. It takes time. It takes courage, because often your intuition will tell you to do things that do not make logical sense. It will tell you to turn down a job that looks perfect on paper because something does not feel right. It will tell you to take a chance on something even though you cannot see how it will work out. It will tell you to end a relationship that seems fine on the surface because you know in your soul that it is not aligned with who you are becoming. The more you honor your intuition, the stronger it becomes. Start with small things. When you get a feeling about something, follow it. See what happens. You will start to notice that your intuition is almost always right, and as you build trust in it, you will feel more confident following it even when the stakes are higher. Your intuition speaks to you in different ways. For some people, it is a physical sensation in their body. They feel a tightness in their chest or a flutter in their stomach. For others, it is a voice in their head, not a loud voice, but a quiet, calm knowing. For others, it is just a sense, a feeling that they cannot quite put into words, but they know is true. However, your intuition speaks to you. Learn to recognize it, honor it, trust it, because it is the voice of God within you. The fourth way to receive spiritual guidance is through meditation and prayer. Now, I know some of you might have resistance to these words. You might have had bad experiences with religion. You might associate prayer with begging or pleading with a distant God who may or may not answer. But I want to reframe these practices for you. Prayer is not about begging. Prayer is about connecting. It is about opening your heart and having a conversation with the divine. It is about expressing your gratitude, your concerns, your desires, and then being willing to listen for the response. True prayer is a two-way communication. You speak, and then you listen. You ask, and then you receive. Many people pray by listing all the things they want, and then immediately moving on with their day. They never stop to listen for the answer. They never create space for the guidance to come through. That is like calling someone on the phone, talking at them for 5 minutes, and then hanging up before they have a chance to respond. If you want to receive spiritual guidance through prayer, you have to be willing to listen. Meditation is the listening part of prayer. When you meditate, you quiet your mind and create space for the divine to speak. You do not have to sit cross-legged on a cushion for hours. You do not have to chant or do anything complicated. Meditation can be as simple as sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and allowing yourself to be present. In that presence, in that stillness, the guidance comes. There are many forms of meditation. You can do a walking meditation where you move slowly and mindfully through nature, paying attention to the sensations in your body and the beauty around you. You can do a guided meditation where you listen to someone lead you through a visualization. You can do a mantra meditation where you repeat a word or phrase that has meaning for you. Find what works for you. The form does not matter. What matters is that you are creating regular time to be still, to be quiet, to be open. When you combine prayer and meditation, you create a powerful practice for receiving guidance. You speak your intentions, your questions, your gratitude, and then you sit in silence and allow the answers to come. And they will come. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in the way you expect, but they will come. The fifth way to receive spiritual guidance is to live in alignment with love. This might sound abstract, but it is actually very practical. Every decision you make, every action you take, every thought you think can be guided by one of two forces, love or fear. When you choose love, you align yourself with God. When you choose fear, you separate yourself from the divine. Love is the nature of God. Love is the essence of who you are at your core. When you act from love, when you speak from love, when you think from love, you are in harmony with the universe. And when you are in harmony with the universe, guidance flows to you effortlessly. You are in the flow. You are on the path. Everything becomes easier because you are not fighting against the current anymore. You are moving with it. So how do you live in alignment with love? It starts with your thoughts. You have to become aware of the thoughts you are thinking throughout the day. Are they loving thoughts or fearful thoughts? Are they thoughts of gratitude or thoughts of complaint? Are they thoughts of abundance or thoughts of lack? Your thoughts create your reality. When you think loving thoughts, you create a loving reality. When you think fearful thoughts, you create a fearful reality. This does not mean you have to be positive all the time or pretend that everything is perfect. It means you choose to see the world through the lens of love rather than the lens of fear. When something challenging happens, instead of immediately going into panic or worry, you can ask yourself, how can I respond to this from a place of love? What would love do in this situation? Living in alignment with love also means treating yourself and others with kindness and compassion. It means forgiving instead of holding grudges. It means being generous instead of stingy. It means being honest instead of deceptive. It means being grateful instead of entitled. Every choice you make either moves you closer to love or closer to fear. And the more you choose love, the more you feel the presence of God in your life. When you are living from love, you do not need to force things to happen. You do not need to manipulate or control. You simply set your intention, take inspired action, and trust that the universe will handle the details. This does not mean you sit around doing nothing and waiting for things to fall into your lap. It means you do your part, and you trust that God will do His part. You plant the seeds, and you trust that they will grow. You do not dig them up every day to check on them. You water them, you give them sunlight, and you trust the process. Now, I want to talk to you about what it really means to walk with God. It does not mean your life will suddenly become perfect. It does not mean you will never face challenges or difficulties. Walking with God does not exempt you from the human experience. You will still face loss, pain, disappointment, and struggle. But when you are walking with God, you face these challenges differently. You face them with faith instead of fear. You face them knowing that you are being guided, that you are being supported, that there is a purpose to everything that happens. Walking with God means trusting that everything is happening for your highest good, even when you cannot see it in the moment. It means knowing that every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Every obstacle is an invitation to become stronger, and every setback is actually a setup for something better. One of the biggest obstacles people face when trying to connect with spiritual guidance is their own doubt. They doubt that they are worthy of receiving guidance. They doubt that God cares about their small problems. They doubt that they are capable of hearing the voice of the divine. And these doubts block the connection. You have to understand something fundamental. You are not separate from God. You are an expression of God. You are a piece of the divine having a human experience. God is not up in the sky somewhere looking down on you, judging you, deciding whether or not you deserve help. God is within you. God is the very essence of who you are. When you connect with your true self, you connect with God. They are one and the same. So when you doubt your worthiness, you are actually doubting God. You are saying that God made a mistake when He created you. You are saying that somehow you are flawed, broken, not good enough. But that is impossible. Everything that comes from God is perfect. You are perfect exactly as you are. Not perfect in the sense that you never make mistakes or never need to grow, but perfect in the sense that you are exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you are meant to be. Your so-called flaws, your struggles, your challenges, they are all part of your journey. They are all part of what makes you uniquely you, and God can use all of it. God can use your pain to help others who are in pain. God can use your struggles to make you stronger. God can use your mistakes to teach you wisdom. Nothing is wasted. Everything serves a purpose. When you start to see your life through this lens, everything shifts. You stop being a victim of circumstance, and you start being a co-creator of your reality. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? How can I use this experience to become more of who I truly am? Walking with God also means letting go of your attachment to outcomes. This is one of the hardest lessons for most people to learn. We all have ideas about how our lives should look. We have plans, goals, timelines. We think we know what is best for us, and when things do not go according to our plan, we get frustrated, angry, depressed. We think something has gone wrong. But what if nothing has gone wrong? What if everything is actually going exactly right, just not in the way you expected? What if the closed door is actually protecting you from something that would not have served your highest good? What if the delay is actually giving you time to develop skills or wisdom you are going to need for what is coming next? What if the disappointment is actually redirecting you towards something better? When you walk with God, you have to be willing to release your attachment to how you think things should be. You have to be willing to say, I will do my best. I will take action. I will follow the guidance I receive. And then I will trust that whatever happens is exactly what is supposed to happen. This does not mean you become passive. It means you become peaceful. You stop fighting against reality. You stop trying to force things that are not meant to be. You flow with life instead of against it. This level of surrender requires tremendous faith. It requires you to trust in something you cannot see. It requires you to believe that you are being taken care of even when circumstances suggest otherwise. But this is what walking with God is all about. It is about faith. It is about trust. It is about knowing that you are never alone, never abandoned, never forgotten. There are going to be times when you feel disconnected from your guidance. There are going to be times when the voice seems quiet, when the signs seem to disappear, when you feel like you are wandering in the dark. These times are not evidence that God has abandoned you. These are the times when you are being asked to strengthen your faith. These are the times when you are being asked to trust, even when you cannot see the path ahead. Think of it like learning to walk. When a child is learning to walk, the parent holds their hand at first. But eventually, the parent has to let go so the child can learn to walk on their own. When the parent lets go, it does not mean they have stopped caring. It does not mean they have abandoned the child. They are right there, watching, ready to catch them if they fall. But they let go because they know the child needs to develop their own strength, their own balance, their own confidence. The same thing happens in your spiritual life. There are times when the guidance is so clear, so obvious that you cannot miss it. And there are times when it seems to pull back, when you are asked to take steps without being able to see the entire path. These are the times when you are developing your spiritual muscles. These are the times when you are learning to trust yourself, to trust your inner knowing, to trust that you are connected to something greater even when you cannot feel it as strongly. During these times, do not panic. Do not think you have done something wrong. Do not think you have lost your connection. Keep doing the be practices. Keep being still. Keep watching for the signs. Keep trusting your intuition. Keep praying and meditating. Keep choosing love. The connection is always there. Sometimes it is just quieter so that you can learn to listen more carefully. One of the most powerful things you can do to strengthen your connection to spiritual guidance is to keep a journal. Write down the guidance you receive. Write down the signs you notice. Write down your questions and then write down any insights or answers that come to you. Write down your gratitude. Write down your fears and doubts so you can see them clearly and release them. When you keep a journal, you create a record of your spiritual journey. You can look back and see how you have been guided, how things have worked out, how prayers have been answered. This builds your faith. When you are going through a difficult time and you are struggling to trust, you can look back at your journal and remember all the other times when things seemed impossible and yet somehow everything worked out. You can see the evidence of God's presence in your life. Your journal does not have to be elaborate. It can be simple. Just a few sentences each day. Today I felt guided to call my friend and she really needed to hear from me. Today I was worried about money and then I got an unexpected check in the mail. Today I was feeling lost and then I saw a sign that reminded me to trust. These small moments of recognition add up. They become proof that you are being guided, that you are being cared for, that you are walking with God. Another important aspect of receiving spiritual guidance is being willing to act on it. Guidance is useless if you receive it and then ignore it. So many people pray for answers, receive clear guidance, and then second-guess it or talk themselves out of following it. They let their fear or their logic override the wisdom they received. And then they wonder why they feel stuck or why things are not working out. When you receive guidance, you have to be willing to act on it, even if it does not make sense to your logical mind, even if it seems risky, even if other people think you are crazy. This is what faith looks like in action. You receive the guidance, you trust it, and you take the step. And then you watch as the next step reveals itself. You do not need to see the entire staircase before you take the first step. You just need to trust that the next step will be there when you need it, and it always is. When you take the first step in faith, the second step appears. When you take the second step, the third step appears. This is how the path unfolds, not all at once, but one step at a time. Walking with God requires courage. It requires you to be willing to stand apart from the crowd sometimes. It requires you to be willing to disappoint people who do not understand your path. It requires you to be willing to leave situations, relationships, jobs, places that no longer serve your highest good. It requires you to be willing to say yes to things that scare you and no to things that do not align with your truth. This is not easy. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fit in, trying to please others, trying to do what is expected of them. They ignore their inner guidance because it conflicts with what others think they should do. They stay in jobs they hate because it is safe. They stay in relationships that drain them because they are afraid of being alone. They keep living someone else's version of their life because they are too afraid to claim their own. But when you start walking with God, you cannot do that anymore. You cannot ignore your truth. You cannot play small. You cannot hide your light. You are called to step into your full potential, to live your purpose, to be fully yourself. And that requires you to let go of the need for approval from others. It requires you to trust your inner guidance more than you trust the opinions of the people around you. This does not mean you become arrogant or dismissive of others. It means you honor yourself. It means you respect your own path. It means you understand that what is right for someone else may not be right for you, and what is right for you may not be right for someone else. And that is okay. We are all on different journeys. We are all learning different lessons. We are all being guided in different directions. Your job is not to judge anyone else's path. Your job is to walk your own path with integrity, with love, with faith. When you do that, you give others permission to do the same. You become a light for others who are trying to find their way. You become living proof that it is possible to trust in something greater, to follow your inner guidance, to live a life that is aligned with your highest truth. As you continue on this path, as you practice these 5 ways of connecting with spiritual guidance, you will notice something beautiful happening. You will start to feel more peaceful. You will start to feel more confident. You will start to feel more connected to yourself and to others and to the divine. You will start to see miracles in your everyday life. Not big, dramatic miracles necessarily, but small, beautiful synchronicities that remind you that you are being guided, that you are being loved, that you are never alone. You will start to trust yourself more. You will start to trust life more. You will stop trying to control everything, and you will start to flow with the natural rhythm of the universe. You will find that the things you need come to you at exactly the right time. The people you need to meet show up exactly when you need them. The resources you need become available exactly when you need them. This is what it means to walk with God. This is what it means to be in alignment with the divine. And here is the most beautiful thing about all of this. The more you practice connecting with spiritual guidance, the easier it becomes. The more you trust your intuition, the stronger it gets. The more you notice the signs, the more signs appear. The more you choose love, the more love you feel. It is an upward spiral. Each step you take strengthens your connection. Each connection you make opens you up to receive even more. You are not starting from zero. You already have access to this guidance. You already have the ability to connect with God. You already have everything you need within you. All you have to do is remove the barriers you have built. All you have to do is quiet the noise and listen. All you have to do is trust what you hear and take action on it. This is your birthright. This connection, this guidance, this divine love is not something you have to earn. It is not something you have to become worthy of. It is yours simply because you exist. You are a beloved child of the universe. You are an expression of the divine. And the same force that created the stars and the oceans and the mountains lives within you. That force is guiding you right now. That force is speaking to you right now. That force is loving you right now. All you have to do is open yourself to receive it. All you have to do is say yes. yes to the guidance, yes to the love, yes to the path that is unfolding before you, yes to becoming who you truly are, yes to living the life you were born to live. So today, right now, make a commitment to yourself. Commit to practicing these 5 ways of connecting with spiritual guidance. Commit to being still, to watching for the signs, to trusting your intuition, to praying and meditating, and to choosing love in every situation. Commit to walking with God not just in your words, but in your actions, in your choices, in the way you live your life every single day. This is not a one-time decision. This is a daily practice. Some days it will be easier than others. Some days you will feel deeply connected. Some days you will feel like you are stumbling in the dark. But if you keep showing up, if you keep practicing, if you keep trusting, you will find your way. You will feel the presence of God in your life more and more. You will hear the guidance more and more. You will experience the love more and more. And as you do, your life will transform, not overnight, not in some dramatic flash of light, but gradually, steadily, beautifully. You will find yourself making different choices. You will find yourself responding to challenges with more grace. You will find yourself feeling more peaceful, more joyful, more alive. You will find yourself living with purpose, with passion, with presence. This is what is possible for you. This is what is waiting for you. Not someday in the future, right now, today, in this moment. The guidance is here. The love is here. God is here. All you have to do is open your heart and receive it. You are not alone on this path. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. There is a force that loves you beyond measure, that believes in you completely, that is guiding you constantly. Trust in that force. Trust in yourself. Trust in the journey. And know that every step you take, you are walking with God. Every breath you breathe, you are connected to the divine. Every moment you live, you are held in infinite love. This is your truth. This is your reality. This is who you are. A spiritual being having a human experience, guided by a love that has no beginning and no end, walking a path that was designed specifically for you, becoming more and more of who you truly are with each passing day. So walk in faith, walk in trust, walk in love, and know that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do, becoming exactly who you are meant to be. This is your journey. This is your path. This is your life. And it is unfolding perfectly, exactly as it should. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust God. And watch as miracles unfold before your eyes. There is something else I need to share with you. Something that many people miss when they begin this spiritual walk. They think that receiving guidance means they will always get exactly what they want when they want it. They think that walking with God means life becomes a smooth highway with no bumps or detours. But that is not how it works. Sometimes the greatest guidance you receive is in the form of a closed door. Sometimes the most loving thing the universe can do for you is to prevent you from getting what you think you want, because something far better is waiting for you. Think about the times in your life when you desperately wanted something and you did not get it. You were heartbroken. You were confused. You questioned why this was happening to you. But then, months or years later, you looked back and realized that not getting what you wanted was actually the best thing that could have happened. You saw clearly that you were being protected, redirected, prepared for something you could not have imagined at the time. This is the wisdom of divine timing. The universe sees the entire picture while you only see a small piece. The universe knows what you need to learn, who you need to become, what experiences you need to have before you are ready for certain blessings. When you truly trust in spiritual guidance, you stop demanding that things happen on your timeline. You start surrendering to divine timing, knowing that everything arrives exactly when it is meant to. Another profound shift happens when you realize that walking with God does not mean avoiding darkness. It means having the courage to walk through the darkness, knowing you will come out the other side. Some of the most spiritual people you will ever meet have been through tremendous suffering. They have faced loss, trauma, illness, betrayal. But instead of becoming bitter, they became better. They used their pain as a doorway to compassion. They transformed their wounds into wisdom. They let their struggles strengthen their faith rather than destroy it. When you go through difficult times, remember that you are not being punished. You are being refined. You are being polished like a rough diamond. Every challenge removes another layer of false identity, another limiting belief, another fear that has been holding you back. What remains is your true self. your authentic essence, the divine spark within you that can never be diminished no matter what you experience. The practice of gratitude is another powerful way to maintain your connection to spiritual guidance. When you focus on what is working in your life rather than what is missing, you align yourself with abundance. When you appreciate the blessings you already have, you open yourself to receive more. Gratitude is not just about feeling good, it is about recognizing that every single thing in your life, even the challenges, is serving your growth. It is about saying thank you before you see the outcome because you trust that the outcome will be for your highest good. Start and end each day with gratitude. Before you get out of bed, think of 3 things you are grateful for. Before you fall asleep, reflect on 3 moments from your day that brought you joy, taught you something, or helped you grow. This simple practice shifts your entire vibration. It moves you out of lack and into abundance. It moves you out of fear and into love. And when you are in that state, guidance flows to you effortlessly because you are in harmony with the frequency of the divine.